Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nate Parker, the Director of Charter Schools for the Tennessee Department of Education. I'm joined by my colleague, Judy Spencer, who you all know, our Senior Director of Choice. Just thank you so much for the opportunity to present this overview of two of our upcoming authorizer reporting deadlines, the Authorizer Fee Report and the Annual Authorizer Report. As with all work streams at the department, we ground our work in the Tennessee's Best for All strategic plan, which sets a vision and intention that together as a state, we will set all students on a path to success through our three strategic priorities: academics, student readiness, and educators. As authorizers of charter schools, we appreciate the work that you all do ensuring all Tennessee students have access to high quality education no matter where they live as part of the broader school choice initiative for the state. As part of today's focus on the authorizer reporting deadlines, our goal is that authorizer representatives will gain or build upon their existing reporting knowledge and better understand the requirements for the authorizer fee report and the annual authorizer report. We'll accomplish this goal by following this agenda here. So first, just a brief overview of reporting. Then we'll dive into the authorizer fee report. Next, we'll look at the annual authorizer report. And finally, we'll wrap up by just looking ahead at some upcoming updates to the website and deadlines, as well as additional opportunity for any questions at the end. But feel free to post any questions you have throughout the presentation into the chat box. If you can unmute yourself, you can feel free to just go ahead and interrupt me as well. So as a reminder, all of our reporting requirements can be found in state statute and state board rule. Authorizers, charter schools, and the department each have reporting requirements based in statute which support the values of accountability, transparency, and quality in charter schooling. Reporting requirements are grounded in both holding authorizers accountable to Tennessee's quality authorizing principles and holding charter schools accountable to the performance goals that are established within their charter agreements. The two reports that we are reviewing today help provide the necessary information for how authorizer fees are being used to support the important work of the authorizing offices and to provide an overview of each authorizer's portfolio of charter schools. Just as a reminder, the following reports have already been completed and posted for the current school year. They can be found on our department's website at the links that I provided here. The charter school office budget is found on the charter school operators and authorizers page, which is part of the charter school website. And then the underutilized and vacant properties report is located on the applications to start a new charter school page. This seems a little counterintuitive, but it's because this is where our sponsors go to seek resources and information to start a new school. So it's to make it easier for them to find what facilities might be available to them as they are planning on opening up a new charter school. The first report we're going to talk to today, it's the one that's due next, and that is the Authorizer Fee Report. This report is due by December 1st of each year, and it is collected from any LEA that collects an authorizer fee in the previous school year. The purpose is for the LEA to report to the department the total amount of authorizer fees collected in the previous school year and the authorizing obligations that were fulfilled using those fees. Each LEA should use the authorizer fee report provided by the department, which is now posted on our website and linked here. Each authorizer fee report, once collected, will be posted on our website. I'm going to spend a couple minutes going through each of the tabs that you can find on that report. It is a downloadable Excel document with a total of 7 tabs. So we'll just kind of briefly go over each. If you have any questions, please feel free to jump in and ask us as we go. And then there's an opportunity to ask questions at the end. Tab 1 of the report provides the instructions for how to complete the worksheet. So this worksheet's a template that authorizers use to complete a report on the previous school year's fees from July 1st to June 30th. Authorizers should send the completed report to the department at charter.schools@tn.gov by December 1st. Each authorizer fee report will then be posted on our website. On the second tab, this lists the legal requirements for the report. So everything that you see in statute is listed here for your convenience. An authorizer of the charter school collects an annual authorizer fee, and that is a percentage of the charter school's per student state and local funding as allocated under state statute. The amount collected depends upon the type of authorizer. So the authorizers covered by this report include geographic districts and the achievement school district. The state board, which is in its final year of reporting, has a separate report that they know that they complete. For geographic district authorizers, the annual authorizer fee is paid by each charter school. The annual authorizer fee paid by each charter school is the lesser of either 3% of the charter schools per student state and local funding or $35,000. For the ASD, the annual authorizer fee is set by the commissioner by May 1st of each year up to 3%. Again, these authorizer fees must use the authorizers must use the annual authorizer fee exclusively for fulfilling authorizing obligations in accordance with statute. If the total amount collected as authorizer fee exceeds the amount used to perform its authorizing duties, an authorizer should distribute these excess funds back to its authorized charter schools. In addition, State Board rule provides guidance regarding the calculation of authorizer fees and allowable uses, as well as reporting, all found on tab 3 of this report. With the transition of authorizing duties from the State Board of Education to the Charter Commission, both statute and State Board regulations have been amended. However, since this particular report is reporting on last school year, 2020 to 21, we will use the prior versions of state statute and regulation as applicable. For the final report, the State Board is you are able to use the same reporting method as you used last year. And then for the Commission, since this is your first year of operation, you have no report that is due this school year. On tab 3, we go over the allowable expenses, which are listed here. For example, you are allowed to use authorizer fees to cover expenses associated with charter school application approval process. So this could include the implementation of your State Board authorized quality authorizing standards, or stipends, or travel for your external reviewers. Next, the interim review process is also allowable use of fees. This could include a review of the progress of the school in achieving the goals, objectives, pupil performance standards, content standards, and other items of the approved charter agreement. Renewal process is another example of allowable use of funds. In addition, any monitoring and oversight activities are allowable use of funds. Personnel costs for authorizing staff supporting charter schools, annual reporting requirements, and then ongoing charter school support services. Each of these is further detailed outlined on that tab. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me directly, and I can provide further clarification.
Nate, I wanted to add in here, this is one area that was updated in the amended State Board rule, which will kick in for the next cycle. So just so that you all are aware, there are some more expanded categories of allowable expenses that will apply next year. But those, again, don't apply to this past school year, which is what this particular report this year is on.
Great. Thank you, Judy, for pointing that out. Next, tab 4 is where the fee revenue collected by authorizers from each charter school during their report year is calculated. So in order to do this, you enter the name of each school for which you serve as an authorizer, the total state and local funding that the school collected during the report year, and the applicable fee percentage determined by statute. The worksheet will calculate the remainder of the columns to determine the fee revenue that should have been collected by the authorizer. In addition, if you need to add any lines to this section, you may add them as you need. And the next page just shows an example that we provide in the worksheet. So we're actually skipping ahead to tab 6, but this is a sample of the directions that were provided on tab 4. So here you can see in that top row, ABC Charter School, you would enter in the $1 million for the total amount of per student, state, and local funding that's collected. In addition, depending on your LEA, you would enter the statutory percentage that's appropriate for you. For most, that's 3%. And then the next column is automatically calculated, as well as the total allowable authorizer fees. So what you'll see is ABC Charter School their formula was calculated was $30,000, and that's what you see in the next column to the right. For each of the other ones, since they exceed that $35,000 cap, the worksheet will automatically keep it at $35,000 for you. In addition, if you want to add any notes in that last column, you may, but this just calculates the total revenues that you were able to collect from your schools. Next is tab 5, which itemizes the expenses incurred by the authorizer in support of its charter schools during the report year. So here you'll enter the applicable amount and line item numbers, the amount, description, rationale for every expense incurred during the report year on behalf of your charter schools. The account and line item numbers are provided from the by the Comptroller's office. I do have a link that I can share as well for this. Each expense should align with the allowable expense in tab 3. Salary should include any benefits. And then if the authorizer employs or contracts with personnel whose work is not fully dedicated to charter schools, you'll indicate the percentage of their time devoted to charter activities and then provide a description of the activities. That's not necessary if they are 100% working towards within the chartering office. If additional lines are needed, again, you can feel free to add those. So then here you'll see just what an example will look like. This is in tab 7 of the worksheet. I didn't include the ones with the examples written out because the text is very small. But when you go to the worksheet, you'll notice an example kind of filled out for you and what that might look like. But these are each of the categories that you would fill out to itemize your expenses for previous year. So in summary, there were no substantive changes made to the fee report from the previous school year. We reviewed the existing documents for clarity and statutory compliance. But since this is for the last school year, as Judy mentioned, we continue to use the guidance in the previous school year using the previous statute and rule for this report. Are there any questions so far regarding the Authorizer Fee Report?
I'm not seeing anything in the chat, Nate.
Great. Again, as you dive into the work, if you do have any questions, do not hesitate to shoot me an email. I'm happy to hop on the phone and walk through anything in more detail. The next report we're going to look at is the Annual Authorizer Report. The purpose of the Annual Authorizer Report is to consolidate the portfolio of data gathered through individual annual charter school reports into a single report that can summarize the overall performance of an authorizer's charter school portfolio. These reports are due by January 1st and must be submitted to the department as well as the state board. The department uses data from these reports to inform its own statewide charter school report, which is shared with policymakers at the state level. Thus, there's a clear pathway from the school reports to the authorized reports to the department using academic, financial, and operational data collected to provide updates and inform decision-making at the state level. When you submit your annual authorizer report, please email to both charter.schools@tn.gov, as you do with all of the things that we request from you. But then for state board, you can email to Gaffey, and her email is there, as well as in the guidance document, which should be posted here soon. All reports should be submitted as a single downloadable PDF document. The report itself has 3 sections. There's a cover page, section 1, which is a list of all authorized charter schools, and then section 2, which is a performance report. And I'll spend a little time going over each of these sections. The cover page is pretty straightforward. This is where you include the authorizer's name and then contact information for the person completing or submitting the report. So a name, their title, email address, and phone number, as well as the date of the report. The rest of the information is straight from statute and what is required. So section 1 requests a list of all authorized charter schools. Here you need to include the name, current school address and phone number for the school leader name, and then their email address, as well as the operating status for each school. And these are listed in the guidance document as well as statute. But the different designations you can provide are approved but not yet open, open and operating, revoked, and then include the reason why for revocation, non-renewed, or closed, and then include the date of closing and the reason for closing. Finally, if applicable, also include the oversight and contracted services provided by the authorizer and or any approved waivers of statute or state board regulation. For section 2, this is where you include the performance report information. This was information that's reported, for each authorized charter school and should address the components of your performance framework that are set forth in your charter agreement. This will typically include the metrics that you provide for academic, operational, and financial performance of each school. Similarly, in summary, there were not any substantive changes made in this guidance as well. This guidance document has not yet been posted to our website, but you'll see the changes are pretty minimal. We again reviewed for clarity and statutory compliance. We updated the submission information, which included the email address for the state board submission, and then also just clarified the submission format, which is that single downloadable PDF document. Are there any questions on your annual authorizer report?
Nothing in the chat, Nate.
So are you all going to give a template for that report also, or we just are to create our own template? You
create your own. So most schools just have whatever template they have used in the past, they just update with new information for the next school year. The guidance that's on the website provides what is the minimum requirements of the report, but does not actually provide a template that you would put the information into. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? And thank you for clarifying that, Sharon, for everyone. Okay, I'm going to move on to kind of the wrap-up section, but if you have any other questions, please feel free to jump in. So in wrapping up, a couple of the items that we just wanted to preview for you all coming up. So first, for our New Start charter applications, sponsors must submit their letter of intent by December 3rd. That is submitted both to the department as well as the authorizer. The form for this has been posted on the website. We shared it with each of you, and we also shared it with each of our partners to make sure that sponsors are aware that is now available. We are also holding office hours on Wednesday, November 17th from 3 to 4 for any interested sponsors or operators. We will not be reviewing the application at that time itself, just the letter of intent, and then asking or clarifying any questions that folks who are interested in applying will be available for that time to answer those questions. Once the materials for the application itself, including the rubric and the budget template, are all approved, then we'll also post that on our website, email them to each of you, and then also blast them out to our contacts just to make sure everyone knows that the new and updated application is available online. What we've been telling folks up to this point is that, like with a lot of the other guidance documents, the changes are fairly minimal. The biggest changes to the application is just clarifying language around the ASD, since the process for schools to exit the ASD has been changed this year. We just wanted to make sure that there was nothing conflicting in the charter application from last year. But in terms of a traditional New Start school, the questions, the sections were not changed. So they can at least look to those to see what it should look like. And it would be very similar to what we'll be posting here in the upcoming weeks. Also, once that is posted, we will follow up with a formal webinar and invite everyone who's interested to walk through the application with us. And then finally, just a reminder that the guidance documents for the renewal process and interim review are posted on our website. There were no changes that were made for this fiscal year, although we are looking at them and reviewing them for updates for next school year. The one thing I did want to point out is in the renewal process guidance, it does say that authorizers submit a performance report to the charter school seeking renewal 3 months prior to the renewal application deadline. And that can be found in statute. So 3 months from the deadline for charter schools is April 1st. So then that means 3 months prior to that would be January 1st. So any schools that are in year 9 of their charter agreement, authorizers would provide them by January 1st a performance report for those seeking renewal. Again, the application deadline for those schools is April 1st of year 9, and then by February 1st of year 10, is the deadline for authorizers to share their renewal decision. And then 10 days after that decision is made, you would inform the department. Similarly, just a reminder that any school that is within its 5th year would qualify for its interim review. The guidance for that is posted as well. But if you have any questions about either of these documents, you can also reach out as well. With that, are there any final questions that anyone has about anything that we talked about here, or just any other relevant questions that we can address for you today?
There's nothing in the chat.
Great. I know most of you have worked through this before, so we just, again, thank you for all the work that you do. And I know sometimes questions aren't always here when you're listening to the presentation, but when you actually get into the work, they come up. So if you do have questions, here's my contact information, my work cell phone, as well as my work email. And so please reach out if there's anything that I can help you with or clarify. Happy to do so. Anything else, Judy?
Not seeing anything. Thank you,
Great.
Nate.
Yep. So this has been recorded. I will go ahead and have both the PowerPoint and the presentation posted to the website. So if anyone needs to review it or you need to share it with anyone, you may download it there probably within the next couple of days. Thank you all.
Thank you.